I have never believed in ghosts or supernatural phenomena. As a practical person, everything has an explanation for me. However, everything changed completely after that fateful night trip. It was a cold December evening. I had just finished an important meeting in a faraway province and had to return home. That night, thick fog covered the road. I decided to drive alone through a short stretch of forest road to save time. My friends had warned me many times that this road was very dangerous, not only because of the terrain, but also because of the horror stories, but I did not believe it, still thinking that those stories were just baseless scares. I set off at around 11 p.m. Stepping into the car, the sound of the engine broke the silence of the night. The road was deserted without a soul. Outside, the fog was as thick as a white curtain. The car headlights only shone a few meters away. I felt a little nervous, but still tried to reassure myself that everything would be fine. After about 30 minutes, the car started to show signs of abnormality. The engine suddenly made strange noises. The sound of the tires rubbing against the road made me start to feel uncomfortable. When I looked at the speedometer, I saw the needle gradually decreasing, even though my foot was still holding the accelerator. Then suddenly, the engine stopped. I tried to restart the car, but all my efforts were hopeless. The headlights turned off. The car was immersed in thick darkness. I opened the car door and stepped out. The surrounding space suddenly became eerily quiet. There was only the sound of the wind rustling through the tall trees on the side of the road. I decided to take out my phone to call for help, but surprisingly, the phone had no signal at all. Impossible, I muttered in my mind, trying to walk along the road, hoping to catch a signal. While walking, I began to feel that something was wrong. The forest path at night had no lights, but sometimes I saw a dim light in the distance, as if someone was moving with a flashlight. I stopped to look closely, but every time I looked more closely, the light disappeared. I shivered, feeling cold, but still tried to reassure myself that it was just an illusion caused by the thick fog. After a while, from afar, I heard footsteps echoing, mixed with the sound of the wind. The footsteps were slow and heavy, as if someone was walking towards me. The sound became clearer and clearer, but I couldn't see anyone. I turned my head, trying to look around in panic. In the quiet space, the footsteps became strange, as if someone was very close, but I couldn't see them. Suddenly, a soft voice rang out from behind me. "Where are you going at this hour?" I turned around in surprise, but saw no one. I stood rooted to the spot, my whole body frozen. That voice, its sound was so clear, as if someone was standing right behind me. But when I looked back, there was only darkness and thick fog. A creepy feeling came over me. I decided to go back to the car, ignoring the car breaking down, just needing a shelter from this terrifying darkness. As I ran back, soft laughter rang out from afar, like the laughter of a child. I turned around to look, but still saw nothing but fog and darkness. My heart pounding in my chest, I rushed straight towards the car. As soon as I got there, something strange happened. The car's lights were on, and the engine was running. I paused for a moment, trying to figure out what was going on. I was sure that I had turned off the ignition, and the car couldn't restart itself. But at this moment, there was no time to think too much. I jumped into the car and immediately drove away, not daring to look back. On the way back, I felt uneasy, as if someone was watching from behind. Through the rearview mirror, I caught a glimpse of a figure sitting in the back seat, a pale face, lifeless eyes staring straight at me. Panicked, I quickly glanced back once more, but the figure had disappeared. I drove as fast as I could, passing dangerous curves without daring to slow down. The laughter rang out again, clearer this time, as if it were echoing right in my ears. I must have heard wrong. I reassured myself, trying not to let panic take over. But all my senses warned me that something terrible was happening. Finally, I emerged from the forest road, the lights from the houses ahead gradually appearing. I didn't stop until I got home, quickly stepping inside and locking the door. Sitting on the seat, I tried to catch my breath, but my heart was still pounding with fear. I couldn't sleep that night. The terrifying images of the trip haunted my mind. The next morning, I called my mechanic friend to come and check the car. When he arrived, I told him what had happened and asked him to check the engine. But strangely, He said the car was completely normal, with no signs of damage. I don't know how to explain it. What I experienced couldn't be a simple hallucination or coincidence. Every time I think about it, I feel a chill down my spine. Since then, I have never passed that road at night again. Sometimes, in the quiet of the night, I still dream of that voice in my head. Where are you going at this hour? And the lifeless look from the figure in the car mirror. I wonder, did I really encounter something? Or was it just my mind playing tricks on me? Whatever it is, I always stay away from that forest path, and there is only one thing I am sure of. That night, I encountered something that did not belong to this world. As always, if you find it interesting, please give me a like, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell to watch more interesting ghost stories. Guys.